Hello, Johanna. My name is Dov. I'm an agile coach, and I'm the one who invited you to this interview. Thanks for accepting this. And we're doing this interview as part of the interviews with the patrons of the Agile 20 Reflect Festival.
And
So
Dove, I'm really happy to be here.
So let me just introduce you in one sentence. Johanna Rothman, who is known as a pragmatic manager, and this is the first thing I wanted to talk to you about, because manager sounds like a four-letter word in part of the Agile community, and it's a rare thing for someone to be a meaningful figure in the Agile community and still talk about management in a proud voice. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk to you about. But before that, I must ask you the question, which we ask all of the people we talk to as a first question. What is Agile for you?
For me, in the organization, it's a culture of experimentation, learning, so that we can inform the next bit of work from what we just did. And it's also a culture of selecting just the most important stuff to work on at all levels, right? In the team, at the portfolio level, for to implement the strategy for the organization. We have many options, and we need to manage our WIP, our work in progress. And I think the last, if I have to keep it to just kind of three legs of a stool, the last is collaboration at all levels, so that the team collaborates as a team, the managers collaborate as levels, and as I think of it as features through the organization, right? Slices through the organization, and um, everywhere. So if we have collaboration, we can do something small, get feedback from it, and inform the next bit of work. And if we manage our WIP, then we can really figure out what we need to do next.
It sounds like a very technical definition. Like
Yeah,
when I hear
yeah.
you, I see architecture.
So there's also the personal piece of it, which is about adaptability and resilience. So adaptability says we need to see that there is a change and we need to adapt to it. And resilience is, how do we have the stuff inside of us so we can choose another path? So this it's the personal, and it's organizational, and everything in between.
Okay, I think I get the image. And now for the question that I was waiting to ask: how do you make these two concepts of management and agility, in the sense of the agile community, live together?
By bringing back leadership. So a lot of people think that somehow management and leadership are not the same things. I I don't know when that happened, but it's not useful. I was going to say it's silly, but there are a lot of people who think like that. So they're not silly, but it's not a useful concept to separate the two ideas. And if you bring back leadership and management as two parts of the same coin, you can see that the first thing we do is we manage ourselves and we manage our reactions. The next thing we do is we lead and serve the teams, the people who depend on us to get all the organizational impediments out of the way. And then the third thing we do is we actually lead the organization in terms of defining the strategy, in terms of getting rid of all that bureaucracy, which really does not add anything to anybody's lives.
And so if it's the same thing, how come we have two different words?
I don't know. I don't have any idea. I suspected it all started with what I might call industrialized management. So management actually started with cost accounting, which actually started with slavery. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. It's a totally horrific idea, but that's where cost accounting started back in the what 16, 1700s with all the slavery. Um, then Taylor managed to make scientific management kind of cost accounting and directing and controlling on steroids. So I think that when we and I'm using we because culturally we did this all across the world. That when we decided that scientific and management could be two words that came together, we we actually divorced leadership from that.
Okay, so you say management is leadership, is management had leadership distilled out of it
Yeah, I
historically.
think so. Yeah, I think so.
And that's why, like, when I was talking about the importance of language, I think sometimes a term is so removed from its meaning today that a new word has to be introduced into the ecosystem, into a language to, you know, to renew what we mean, and
Yeah.
not to carry old things. Okay, and this leads me to another thing I wanted to ask you now in the more in the less serious, but perhaps even more serious questions is looking back at the history of management, if you could change the track in one single crossroad that management as a concept took during the years, where would you intervene?
I think it would be, well, there were several places. One is thinking that you can only use specific kind of cost accounting measurement to direct an organization's path. So cost accounting is useful. We use it. It's not that it's not that useful actually for knowledge work. Um, we everybody has to report revenue and profit and loss. That's fine, but the whole idea of resource efficiency that got started, I think, in the 50s and 60s, and that's the whole business of thinking one person could do one job and then pass that work over to another person. That's it's wrong. I mean, it's wrong thinking. So I think if I could do something about that, it would be useful. The other idea is that organizations exist to return profit to their shareholders. That's just so stupid. I cannot believe legions and legions of managers fell for that and that people still fall for that. You return profit to shareholders as an outcome of creating great products for customers who will buy it. How do you create great products? By having diverse teams who are engaged in the work. I mean, it's right. If you start from first principles, you actually get to where managers can help, right? They take away the obstacles, they hire great people, they provide feedback and coaching and meta feedback and coaching so that people can understand how to work together so that they can create great products. And then we need marketing and sales because yeah, I'm a technical person. I don't do marketing and sales. Um, yeah, all of us do, but I don't focus on that. So we need those people in the organization who can reach out and help solve a problem for customers. And if we do all of this, if we somehow connect with each other and connect with our customers, we can create great products that people will buy and be happy with. So, and then Out of all of that, that's how we return value to our shareholders. Sorry, I get very excited about this.
So I gave you one chance to go into the time tunnel and change something, and you took two. It's okay, no, not
I
a
did.
problem.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but only you said one keyword which I have to challenge you about. You said knowledge work. Is it only
Yeah.
knowledge work?
I think that there's a lot of work that actually requires knowledge work. So back in the 80s, when I was working on um, a machine vision system to inspect the glue around a windshield, and that work that I did absolutely took away factory jobs. Those factory jobs were mind-numbingly boring. That's why they had a machine do it, because people would look away, they would want to take a break, they would let the glue on the machine dry out. The people doing the job were not good for that kind of work. It did not require knowledge to do that work. It required a very, very basic knowledge. So when I automated their jobs away, they got really angry at me. And I said to them, because I was out on the factory floor, and I said to them, do you want to do anything else that requires more of your brain? And some of them said, I would like to. I don't have a college education like you. I said, there's plenty of work that does not require a college education, but requires you to think. And some of them said, no, I don't want to think. The people who don't want to think, I don't know why that got beaten out of them. Because if you look at babies and small children, they want to think, and they do think. We might not always like what they do, but they're thinking about it. They're experimenting, they're trying. So how do we make work inviting for all people and make all of it knowledge work? So I'm not talking about blue collar and pink collar and white collar. I'm talking about thinking to do your work. And that is the essence of knowledge work, not if you get paid a salary or an hourly wage.
Okay, so we got the term knowledge work corrected. Thanks a lot for this. One other question, like when I did the small research about you, I saw that you wrote tons of books. And I'm sure that there's tons of people, me included, by the way, that struggle or play with the idea of writing a book. So I won't require from you a full training of or advice how to write a book, but what would be the first step and what would be the last one?
So the first step is to define your ideal reader. If you don't know who you're writing the book for, you cannot possibly ever finish. And the next step is to actually write 15 minutes every day. Just write 15 minutes every day, and pretty soon you'll have a book. I'm actually thinking of creating a book writing class for 2021. But I need to finish the books I'm finishing right now before I take on any new work.
And the other question was, what would be the last step?
So the last step, once you've really done all the writing down, that's when you go through the editing and the layout and the indexing and the print versions. That I think of that as the manufacturing part of the book. So there's there's the agile part of the writing, which is you cycle and you keep writing and you keep writing and you keep writing. And if you know who you're writing for, you can create release criteria or a frame for the book, and then you know when you're done. Because if you don't know who you're writing for, you can never be done. And for me, that's the fun part of the book. And then all the rest of the book, the final editing, the layout, the going to all the stories, to me, that's manufacturing, which if I could figure out how to give that to somebody, I would. I can't, so I do it. I have checklists because I am very, very bad at finishing.
Yeah, I heard that from you in an interview. Okay, Eh, a few more questions. One of them is that I heard that you have a duck collection.
I do. Let me see if I can find one on.
Yes, so
Hey,
my question is, who's your favorite? And if you can
that's
show
like
us.
asking me about my children.
Yeah, I know, but sometimes, like Sophie's choice, you have to make a choice. Like
Well,
if there's a flood and you have to save one, which one would you save?
they all float.
Yes, good.
So I have one with sparkles that I believe somebody from Amsterdam gave me. I have one. I have one over there, and I if I go and get it, it's going to be I'm going to be out of the picture, which is not so good for a recording. Um, with um, with a book and glasses, which I thought was very funny. I have several yellow ducks. I guess that none of them are on my bookshelves right now. Yeah, I have all kinds of ducks.
But what's the story behind it?
So, oh, talk to the duck. So,
Yes.
do you know about the debugging thing where you have a duck and you talk to it? I first learned about this. I was having a lot of trouble with debugging a program I had written, and I went to my boss and I said, I have no idea what to do about this. And he said, do you know about talk to the duck? And I said, no. He said, you explain your problem to the duck, right? You have to. I said, oh, okay. So I sat there and communed with the duck silently. And he turned around and said, no, you have to talk to the duck, right? Use your words, your mouth. You have to get the words out of you. And I said, really? He said, yes, the problem inside your head is not the problem on your lips. So you must make the problem come from your head to your lips. So that's when I learned about talking to the duck.
Great. So whoever listens to it, learn how to talk to someone when there's no one except the ducks.
Yeah.
Okay, so a set of three more questions that I'm really interested in the what if situation. Um, Talking about agility, one, if you could make all the people in the world understand something that you do, what would that be?
One thing.
Yes, just
Um,
one.
so if I think about what I do, I think what I do is hold up a mirror. I help people see what they actually do. I don't judge them because everybody starts in a different place. And I'm in my own place, you're in your own place. But I really feel as if we often need to see, and seeing in some way that does not embarrass us, but allows us to make a choice about what to do next. So I think I hold up a mirror.
Okay, so you want to teach everyone to hold the mirror to each other or to look at the mirror?
Oh, to look in the mirror,
Yeah.
to see themselves, see their team.
Okay, and the second question is the same, but for organizations.
So, what do I help organizations do? Is that it?
Make organizations understand one thing that you do worldwide, what would that be?
Oh, then I can help them be more effective. That's it. Because whatever their problems are, chances are good I've seen it, right? I have the gray hair to prove it. So I've seen many, many problems in organizations. And they might have similar root causes. I see a lot of WIP in organizations, the work in progress that just makes everybody crazy. I've seen so much silo thinking, and that makes everybody crazy in a different way. I've seen performance measurement systems that do exactly the opposite of what everybody wants. So it's I can help people be more effective depending on what they think their current problem is.
And the third question is the same, but for the whole world.
Oh, I think that for the whole world, which is a little ambitious of me, I don't normally think of the whole world. I think of a smaller subset. I think the idea is of adaptability and resilience. That if we could get people to realize they are adaptable and they can be resilient, that things are not the same as they were a year ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago. And we have all adapted. So I mean, how many of us have cell phones of some sort? When I started to work, um, we didn't have cell phones. When you went on vacation, you went on vacation. Nobody could contact you. And now I have, I can chat with my 91-year-old dad, and I can text with my kids. We have so many more communication capabilities now than we had even just 10 years ago. And that's what I really love about this. So I think we live in a wondrous time, even with COVID, right? Even with the problems we have right now, we live in a wondrous, wonderful time, and we are quite capable of adapting to our times and then choosing the next step so we can be resilient.
Wonderful. And the last question that I ask you, and again, this is a question that we ask everyone, is what, let's say we have an amazing festival. How would it look like, and what would you like to stay? What would be the residual of it?
I think that for me, an amazing festival is where I get to learn and other people get to learn also, not just um, the old standard stuff of agility, but how have people extended what they mean by agile or lean? How do we bring more lean concepts into what a lot of people think of as agile, which is, to be honest, insufficient for most teams and companies? How do we really bring business agility along without succumbing to the buzzword bingo in business? I mean, yeah. How do we make it real for people? I think that that's really, if I had one wish, it would be, how do we make agility real for people, for their teams, for their companies, and for the world? Why not?
Okay, sounds good enough for me. Thanks a lot for this lovely interview, and I'm looking forward to hear you and see you in the festival.
Thank you. So am I.
Take care.